Our next guest is an actress and activist who we absolutely love in her role as Charlie on the hit show Queen Sugar. Please welcome Dawn-Lyen Gardner.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Dawn-Lyen.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. You know, February in the
That part.
pandemic of the next year. Crazy that we're still in this. Crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it is amazing. Dawn-Lyen, you recently posted that this year's MLK Day was different compared to any other you've personally experienced. Please tell us how so.
Yeah, this year's MLK really hit me. I think the political, activity and climate of this previous year, it really brought home just how important voting is and how local engagement really, really, really works and is really the way that we can transform our society. So that's part of what that post was about, showing MLK at the ballot box. For me, it really hit me that elections really are the bridge from protest to policy. And I came into this year or last year, really resisting politics, really distrusting politics. And through the course of the year, through everything that happened, I really realized that the way that we get from the streets to, policy and to how we govern ourselves is through elections. And so for me, it was a tie from, the movement work and the social justice work to government and to politics. And it really was transformational for me. That's where a lot of my political work with the Belong campaign came from. And I felt like I wanted to, do an homage to all of that.
So
Well,
great.
2020, Dawn-Lyen, was a hard year for everyone. And you went through something last May that you wanted to share with us. What happened?
Yeah, 2020, I feel like, was defined by grief. There was just so much grief. There was the global grief of the pandemic. There was the social grief of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And then there were also personal griefs, very intimate griefs. And I experienced in the middle of all of that a pregnancy loss. And I just couldn't figure out how to talk about it before now, because at the time, I remember feeling so alone in it, so absolutely without a place to go, a space to unpack it, to understand it. It was incredibly isolating. And then being in the pandemic was even more isolating. And it's really taken me till now to really get on the other side of it, really wrap my mind around it. And I just remember feeling like I wish there was a space that women could have to really talk about it and to normalize it. I remember being very, very angry, that in the media, in our sort of public spaces, women's experiences are not normalized. They're othered. And I felt like the only way that we create those spaces and create those norms is to talk about it. And I know that you've talked about it here on this show, and I'm so grateful for that. So I felt like this is something I wanted to share here.
Wow.
Well, I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you were able to share that with us.
Of people are going to benefit from you sharing your experience. Thank you so much for being so open. I know that takes a lot of courage to do that and strength. And it is absolutely important that we continue to uplift women and have these conversations. Another way that you have been uplifting women is with a unique experience on Queen Sugar, because you get to work with all female directors. What has it been like working in such a pro-woman environment?
Pro-women environment. I love that language.
Yes.
It has been actually pretty game-changing. I think working with, all women directors for 5 years of my life, it actually fully shifted just the definition of a director. Ava was the first woman director I ever worked with in television. And then it was sort of 34 women after that. And it has really completely transformed like what was possible even for myself. I think on some level as an actor, just seeing who's at the helm, seeing who's in leadership, all of that informs, I guess, a permission that you give yourself to more fully embody yourself, to more fully embody the work, and that, your own dreams of perhaps one day doing that for yourself. It really was an emotional shift for me. And I'm so, so grateful to the show and for Ava for that initiative. It was, I think, game-changing for me and for other actors, but it was definitely game-changing for the industry. She, in a lot of ways, she just inundated the industry with female directors in television who'd never worked in television before and who couldn't get themselves in the door because of just the way the system is set up. So I'm just privileged, I feel, and honored to have had, a front row seat to all of that. And now it feels like the world is catching up. The industry's now sort of catching up with what we've been doing, which is amazing to watch.
Just took one person.
Absolutely. Yeah, it did. And for you guys to follow through with such fervor and passion, because this season of Queen Sugar, it really delves into the events of this past year, both with COVID and the Black Lives Matter protests. So what was it like for you to relive everything over the course of taping the show?
Yeah, it was surreal. It was really surreal. I think there was so much that happened in 2020, and it all happened rapidly after each other, one thing after the next. And I think for all of us, there was just no time to really process it, no time to actually understand and unpack it. And for me personally, walking through all of that, I was walking through, the events, but I was also walking through my loss. And so I was managing, just a surreal amount of sort of emotional intensity through it all. But I also feel like the show is that. It is a place for really all of us, and especially communities of color, to process their experiences and especially their trauma. And so I feel like this has been an opportunity for definitely the actors and all the people involved with the storytelling of the show to tell the story of last year in something of a time capsule, as Ava calls it, to sort of like incorporate it instead of just forget it. I think so many people are like, 2020 was a year that we just want to forget.
Right.
I don't ever want to forget it, because I think it was transformative in too many ways, from police brutality and Black Lives Matters to the political world. It for me is a year that we can't ever be without, because it has created such exceptional shifts in the world and in our country. So I feel like this is this season will be an opportunity for all of us to understand, process, grieve, and also celebrate the ways that communities of color came through incredible challenge in 2020 and triumphed.
Well, that's why we love the show so much. But let's take a look at a sneak peek of Queen Sugar right now.
Great.
I brought you here to see the damage Francis caused on your behalf, not just to the mill, but to the pride of ownership the community had in supporting it. It wasn't just mine, it was ours. We're not taking a deal.
You better act.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dawn-Lyen, thank you so much for being with us today and being so open. You can catch the season premiere of Queen Sugar on Tuesday, February the 16th at 8 p.m. on OWN.